do the S2000 oil change on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's been a while since I've done it, but the oil still looks clean. It's just because I don't really drive the car that much. But let me show you how I do it. There's thousands of other S2000 oil change videos with probably more views than I'll ever count in my lifetime. But hey, why not throw another one in there? For today, we're using the Motul 8100X Clean in 530. The S2000 technically wants 1030, but 530 is also good enough substitute, and this is a high quality oil, so you can't complain. I will also be using the S2000 oil filter. Make sure you order this online or go to the Honda dealer and get it. Because the S2000, and believe it or not, the Honda Passport from the early 90s uses their own special oil filter. You can get a K&N. I have a K&N on there, but I'm going to go back to Honda just for peace of mind. Now, the last oil change I did used this hardcore stuff. So I like to bounce back between the X Clean and this, because this is more like hardcore racing oil. Again, 100% synthetic esters and all that good stuff. This stuff is just really expensive and it's really hardcore. So I like to bounce back between like more of the consumer grade, high quality consumer grade, and then the hardcore racing stuff. I'll alternate between these two. Oh, and don't forget your crush washer. Always replace these every single time, please. Don't be that one guy that uses it over and over again. Just buy a bunch on Amazon. Quick tour. This is going to be your oil dipstick. We'll be using that quite often. And here's our cap, filler cap. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew that right now. There you go. And I like to just leave it off to the side right there. This will help the air push the oil out further, especially if you didn't warm up your engine. They recommend doing, a few laps around the block, get it to operating temperature, and then drain your oil. I didn't this morning, so we'll be fine though. All right, I got this jack from Costco. It's not like a super low profile jack, but my car's stock height. And of course, the Vato Zone Special Duralast. Yeah. Jack stands. Please use your jack stands so you don't kill yourself and have to have the fire department come out. Now, what's nice about the S2000 is there's not much aero. There's a little fan shroud in the front, but you can pretty much see everything else underneath this car. So your oil is right where that bolt is staring at on the passenger side. Try to reach my finger right there. You're going to want to crack that open. I believe it's a 17. And now is a good time to check for any leaks or any other damages you may be finding underneath, if you've heard any extra funky noises happening. But for the most part, yeah, no, everything's good. Let's crack that bolt open. All right, and again, it'll even say engine oil underneath. But let's do the satisfying part. Make sure my container's ready to catch it. What I like to do is put a little pressure against the engine oil pan so I can control when it's going to flow out. See, it's starting to leak. I have pressure against it, and voila. Beautiful. Let that sucker drain out. And let's take this bolt and take out the crush washer. So what you'll notice sometimes is that the crush washer just doesn't come out. So you can get your channel locks and kind of twist it off. You can also get your dikes and make a snip on it. And you can like literally like bite it off and chew it off. So like here are my dikes, right? And then I can go ahead and just snip at one end and then just keep chewing it off and get it off. But always replace these. I've seen drain bolts where like the crush washers like melted into the actual drain bolt now, you know. But again, they're just super cheap. They're sometimes hard to get at a parts store, but just order them online. Just order a bunch. And voila. So let's talk a little bit more about this crush washer. There's a round side and there's a flat side, okay? And if you look really closely, you can see the difference of materials. You probably won't be able to see it on a GoPro, but make sure the round side, let me get my bolt. I just wiped it off with some brake clean, so it's super clean. Mr. Clean. I put the flat side against the back of the bolt, and so the round side is facing the engine oil pan. So the round side, when you start to torque it and tighten it up, it conforms and molds to the metal of the engine oil pan. Very important. People sometimes don't see the difference. All right, so it's going to a slow drip. I could stay here another 30 minutes. I could stay here another 2 hours. Definitely, if you warm up your engine, it'll flow out better and you'll get more of the old stuff out. But shoot, I got good stuff in there to begin with. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten up. Now, it recommends for the drain bolt 29 foot-pounds of torque. I've never busted my torque wrench down here, honestly. As long as you get good leverage and you feel that bolt tighten, especially the washer go against the drain pan, you'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll show you how to do the oil filter next. All right, so your S2000 oil filter is right there. Like I said, I use the K&N. I'm going to put the Honda one on there. The nice thing about the K&N, it has that little nut on the outside, but they can still be slippery. So I'm going to still get an oil filter wrench, twist towards the car, twist to your left, and it'll start to come out. All right, now that the filter's out, you're going to want to go ahead and spray down and start wiping and get as much of the oil residue as possible, just so it can help you better find oil leaks in the future in case it so happens. So let's get down in there and start wiping around. You can put a little brake clean on there. Just be careful with like any painted surfaces. I like to put brake clean on a little paper towel and go at it. All right, so let's prep the oil filters. Again, so many people hate this, but just get a little bit of that old oil. Yes, you can do it, just a little bit. Prep the gasket on this one. Now, with the oil filter, you want to make sure the old gasket is actually still there. Sometimes the gasket gets stuck onto the engine block, and you'll be putting this new one against the old gasket, and then you'll get a leak. So just a nice coat. You can also fill up the oil, but since it goes in sideways, I'm just gonna let it go dry dog. Now for this bad boy, they say 16 foot-pounds. I've seen on the forums how you should use a torque wrench and the special thing. I mean, I guess if you're on race day, I would torque everything with my torque wrench, but I just putt around town. I go hand tight, just make sure that gasket is lubed and ready for its new surface. All right, now we get to do the fun part. We're gonna start filling it up with oil. You can definitely use a funnel. These containers have the cool, watch. These containers have that cool filler thing, but since they're so huge, I'm just gonna fit in a funnel. So I believe it is 5.5 quarts. I'm gonna definitely use this whole guy and check and remeasure from there. All right, so I've already filled up the car. It took about 5 quarts. Though that 5.5 is probably the leftover in the engine. But again, if you're always using good stuff, the oil filter will take care of the rest. But now is also a good time to inspect your brake fluid, clutch fluid, check your air filter. We'll do that right now. Check the coolant, check the windshield washer fluid, check the battery in case it's starting to corrode. Just give a good look around for the engine, PCV valve, all the good stuff. I use a reusable K&N. I didn't do the LHT performance thing. It's just a stock box. That looks good. You can also flip it around and make sure there's no dirt collecting underneath, but that thing looks pretty good. So I like to shine a light, check the coolant level. And it's kind of hard for you to tell, but looks pretty good to me. And you'll want to check this when it's at operating temp, because you know the reservoir will fill, go back down, fill and go back down, but that looks pretty good. I like to at least see some fluid in there. Brake reservoir give it a little wipe down, see a little bit of dust, but fluid looks clean. Clutch reservoir fluid looks clean. I had this done a couple years ago, and again, I don't drive it too much, so should be good, but you'll want to change it out because moisture eventually seeps in there. Belt looks good. You want to look for cracks or any oil on it. And then you want to check your batteries. Yeah, no corrosion. You can put some of that grease on there sometimes, but windshield washer fluid, you can just use distilled water as well. Just make sure if you're in freezing climates that you can put some antifreeze or the right stuff in there. But I live in the desert and this car is garaged. Often mistaken is the AC filter, the little evap box filter for your AC vents. It's underneath the hood cowl, and a lot of people forget that. Just order one online and take it out, and you'll be surprised all the bugs and critters you'll get out of there. But yeah, that's a little more involving, taking out the whole cowl, but it's not too bad. And also don't forget to check the rubber on your blades. Luckily you live in SoCal where they just usually rot out, but that's always good to check if you daily your car. And then that's pretty much it. We're gonna go and give it a good test drive and make sure everything is good to go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and reset the maintenance light. So what I'm gonna do is insert the key, right? I'm gonna hold on the select button right there until I see the maintenance light go off. Let's give it a shot. So you should see maintenance light went off pretty quick. Hold it for a few seconds and I'll go ahead and call it off. And then if it does happen to turn on, let's say I did it wrong or whatnot, this is what I do as a backup. Trip B, I'll reset it to 0. So then I know that trip B was the last time I did my oil change. And then trip A right there. So not too bad of an oil change. It could be pretty tight back there. I spilled a little bit of oil on the back. So that oil goes to the transmission's bell housing. I kind of sprayed that down already and try to wipe it down, but overall it's not a bad oil change. Considering that these cars have so much access, like you can see everything. I'm still sweating like a pig though, because it's Southern California, 100-degree heat right now. So I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna take this for a test drive, but I've already got it to operating temperature. I'm gonna recheck the oil one more time before we go out for a quick spin and then let her rest. Any of the sweat, I'll just take some waterless wash. Take some waterless wash and wipe it down. Nice soft towel and keep the paint looking nice. But I hope this helps some people. Leave me some feedback and take care of your S2000 and any car you have really. And we'll catch you guys on the next car meet, car show, or interview. Have a good one.